second strongest JoJo character. Part 1 all the way to part 9. Who would you say is the second strongest of this part?
All right, maybe a little bit controversial because, technically he did beat him, mostly one-on-one, but he did beat him. However,
he needed fire, he needed his weapon, maybe because they had to fight everyone just to get up to Dio, but Dio's a vampire, okay?
Yeah.
A JoJo vampire.
Basically. That's why, Jonathan, second strongest. Dio's just like, he's a vampire. He got cut in half and put himself back together. And
Jonathan literally lost to a head. Okay.
That is true. He just got laser beamed in the neck and died. Dio was a head and lived. So it's pretty simple.
Now on to part 2. Obviously, the strongest person in part 2 is Ultimate Cars. Okay, that dude can literally transform into any life form. His IQ's like 1 billion. Okay, he's above a vampire because he's a pillarman. Pillarmen basically eat vampires. And so, we decided to pick Joseph Joestar as the second strongest.
Because, you go through, like Neil said, Ultimate Cars. He didn't actually get beaten. It was really just luck. And then, you got Wamu and Caesar in here. But, Joseph beat 2 Pillarmen, one-on-one combat.
In a short period amount of time.
Right. And, he beat the first Pillarman. He had some assistance, but, he did beat 3 Pillarmen, You just got to include that with his luck.
And he's a genius. He's a fighting genius.
Yeah, so he's the second strongest. Pretty easy, once again. Part 3, this is, where it kind of starts to get a little iffy.
We had Jotaro versus Dio. Obviously Dio, he was just beating everybody. And the only reason Dio got defeated is because, Polnareff's goated and Jotaro can stop time. Only reasons. So, really, it's a factor of who's stronger, Jotaro or Dio. Now, the World versus Star Platinum. Star Platinum's a stronger stand, but Dio's a vampire that forgot most of his abilities. So we said Dio is the second strongest.
Yeah, because Dio's a vampire. He lost most of his abilities because, he's got Jonathan's body.
He got blood, too, from, the other Joestar.
Yeah, the thing is, if you watch the fight, okay, the World will hit Star Platinum and Jotaro, and it'll hurt. It'll break some ribs, all that stuff. But if you watch the fight, whenever Star Platinum hits the World or hits Dio, it basically just destroys him every single time he punches him. And you just gotta keep in mind, Jotaro gets that rage boost. It basically just doubles his power. So that's why we put Dio at 3. If he still had his laser eyes and crazy healing ability hacks and all that stuff.
Because he was in Jonathan's body, and Jonathan's body was kind of rejecting him, but kind of accepting him.
And you got to think, we're also kind of thinking this peak Jotaro also has the 5-second time stop, so he has a stronger stand and the 5-second time stop. So, when you really think about it, Dio's just got to be second strongest. Especially
if you look at the stand stats. Star Platinum is the stronger stand, but the stronger person is Dio. But stands are stronger than vampires.
Right. Part 4, this is kind of weird. But not really if you think about it.
We said, okay, obviously the strongest is Jotaro. He would have easily crushed Killer Queen. In fact, when he fought Killer Queen, he was just beating him up. Like, it was just light work for him. Okay, that wasn't the strongest opponent he faced. For Josuke, it was a little bit of a challenge. And Okuyasu, he is a low IQ'd individual, so we're not even going to think about him. And he literally lost to, like, Kira. Kira literally blew him up. It was because of Josuke that he came back.
So it basically said Josuke, second strongest. Jotaro's the strongest. His, if he had, his full 5-second time stop, because they kind of nerfed him in part 4. If he had his, full 5-second time stop, I mean, he already pretty much washes everybody, but if he had that full 5 seconds, it would be even worse, Okuyasu, like we said, IQ is not like a huge factor for most characters, but for him, he is truly an idiot who doesn't know how to use his stand. So, he's not really in the mix for that. And, Kira has some strong abilities, but you saw what happened when he fought Crazy Diamond. He got destroyed. Wasn't even close.
Now, the thing is, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yes, Red Hot Chili.
We discussed about Red Hot Chili Peppers. He beat Josuke one time in a fight. He was literally using his pinky playing around. But then also Josuke was able to beat Red Hot Chili Peppers, which makes it odd. But could Red Hot Chili Peppers beat Killer Queen? And it depends on location, of course. Because Okuyasu was kind of beating up Red Hot Chili Peppers, but he's dumb. And that's how Red Hot Chili Peppers escaped. So we decided Josuke because he beat him, on their rematch. So Josuke, in our opinion, is a hair stronger than Red Hot Chili Peppers. All right, on to part 5.
The top 2 strongest stands are just way stronger than every other stand. It's not even close.
So GER, Gold Experience Requiem, basically souls the entire part. And King Crimson could literally just destroy them all. He could just cut up people like butter. He can literally see into the future. He can erase time. He did have some difficulties against Risotto, but other than that, we just said King Crimson and Diavolo, they're the second strongest of the part.
Yeah, Giorno basically need to become a god in the JoJo universe to beat Diavolo.
Yeah, so on to part 6. Second strongest. This was a little hard, a little tricky, because we made the argument that, Jotaro might be the strongest because the stand stats are the highest. Then also, we said, but actually, Made in Heaven's a little better. So we were really confused on this one.
Yeah, because at first I was like, well, Jotaro almost beat Made in Heaven with this time stop, and time stop still affected Made in Heaven. But then you watch the fight, you get a little context. He did need help from the other stands.
Diver Down helped him a lot.
And Pucci was 2 steps ahead. He even may have been aware during the stop time, maybe.
He moved his eyes.
Yeah, and he shortened it from 5 to 2 seconds. So, thinking of that, we were like, Pucci probably is stronger than Jotaro. So Jotaro is number 2. I mean, you got Heavy Weather, which is a strong stand, but it does have...
Sea Moon beat him, bro.
Yeah, it has a weakness that can be overcome. You can't really overcome time stop unless you're just a super powerful stand. And Bohemian Rhapsody, he can't even control Bohemian Rhapsody.
And you literally just make a fictional character to round up all the other fictional characters and you win.
Exactly.
So Jotaro, is the second strongest for part 6. On the part 7, now this list is for the second strongest, but we need to clearly state who the strongest person is in all of part 7. It is the Holy Saint, Jesus himself. For obvious reasons, he is the strongest of part 7. That is really the source for like funny Valentines and A Ticket to Ride with Lucy. So the question is, okay, besides Jesus, who is the strongest person? And it's either Johnny, Funny Valentines, Diego, Gyro.
Yeah, this is a really, confusing part. Because you got to think about it this way. Love Train is like one of the strongest abilities.
You're untouchable.
Yeah. But then, like, Johnny and Gyro have abilities that can specifically get past it. But, they need to be on a horse, get the golden triangle, specifics. So there's that. And then Diego is just like...
Smart.
Yeah, he's really smart. Strategy, time stop. He beat Johnny. So it's very tough to even find out
what counts.
Yeah. And...
So we could do elimination. Obviously not Gyro.
Yeah, because
he uses ball breakers.
Yeah, he throws the steel ball, which if it's scratched or anything, then it's not the perfect rotation anymore.
But I just think Tusk's Act 4 is like a superior stand, really broken. But Johnny needs a horse. And, Funny Valentine's needs the corpse part. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put up Johnny and Funny Valentine onto our list. But we're gonna have Johnny first. Because if Johnny doesn't have a horse, he's not winning.
Yeah, see, because this is like the same sort of thing as like Red Hot Chili Peppers, for more, because if he has the horse, he's the strongest. If Red Hot Chili Pepper had access to the whole grid, he's the strongest. But Johnny's a little more, his scenario is a little more reasonable, but I don't know. We personally, we couldn't really decide, so we're just gonna, be interchangeable.
On to the next part, part 8. Okay, we're gonna say it's between Josuke and Toru. Now, Soft and Wet Go Beyond is a very broken ability. You're basically hitting someone with something that doesn't exist. Wonder of You is just broken. Wonder of You, literally, you just pursue him. The flow of calamity is out to get you. Okay, there's nothing you can do. He is untouchable. So, Josuke won the fight. Josuke's stand is superior to the Wonder of You. The Wonder of You is terrifying. So we decided to pick the Wonder of You, Toru, the head doctor.
This is also kind of similar to part 7 in a way, because it's like...
Can he aim?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, he can't really aim it, but the ability is just so strong. And then, unlike, he doesn't need anything else. Yeah, but he can still shoot out the infinite bubbles, and the infinite bubbles are even stronger than the infinite spin. And you gotta think, this is the one stand that you could make a real argument that Gold Experience Requiem couldn't even beat, because you can't set something that doesn't exist back to 0. So we could have done the same thing, put them both, there, and you could decide on your own. But I think his ability is just a little bit too strong for that.
All right, on to part 9. Part 9 is not finished, so we're gonna have to decide between someone in the part. So we got JoJo, we got Rohan, the guy with what's that ability called? Glory Days. What's the other one? Bags Groove. Charming Man.
Yeah. I mean, this is just. I mean, we haven't seen like a super overpowered stand. I mean, you could say that Rohan's stand is overpowered, but we haven't seen it being used in an overpowered way.
Yeah. So first off, definitely not Dragona. Definitely not Usagi. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it comes down to like, who do you think is stronger, JoJo or Rohan? Most of the other stands so far are, let's not say they're weak stands, but they're not, stands specifically made, for one-on-one fighting.
This part has the weakest stance, honestly. Like, Rohan literally soloed all of them.
Yeah, and then, I mean, so we basically just said, spoilers, we basically just said Rohan, because JoJo's stand is like...
Caught him.
Yeah, and he's the only stand we've seen so far where we're like, this could be, because we don't really like fully understand his stand, but it seems strong, if the stand gets above you, pretty much you're done.
Yeah. I mean, he could flick it to the side as water, but yeah, I think Rohan, Heaven's Door literally puts you to sleep. He can read you. He did have some troubles with like Paco, and we haven't seen too much with like Charming Man's stand, everyone else's stand. Yeah, so we've seen the main villain stand, but we don't know. It's too early to say. We're just gonna say Rohan for now.